Hello. Welcome to my one of the bosses.
ここは譲れない。魂を引き出す。はあ。虚空を貫け。いっちゃ立ち向かおう。立ち向かおう。僕に任せろ。
Which one is more important? None of them actually. But this one has bots for paladin. No one cares, Beetle.聖なる光よ、せやすべてを貫く。いや行くよ、未来のために。Alright, Gladio.
魂を引き出す。はあ、空を貫け。立ち向かおう。いっちゃ月の導きを頼んだ。いっちゃ僕に任せろ。俺が切り開いてやる。魂を引き出す。はあ、虚空を貫け。立ち向かおう。いっちゃ覇者の光へ僕に任せろ。いっちゃトリプルブレイク。一丁上がり。光の審判を。侮るな。真っ二つだ。くれよ。慈悲などないぞ。風が下がる。さあ行こう。さあ行こう。いけるぞ。守ります。月の導きを頼んだ。侮るな。釣りは取っとけ。覇者の光で。トリプルブレイク。俺が切り開いてやる。 釣りはとする。月の導きを頼んだ。釣りはとする。真っ二つだ。釣りはとする。釣りはとっとけ。肌の光を。釣りはとっとけ。光の審判を。
Yeah, it's time I stop this nonsense. These guys were never meant to counteract these guys, but they took them down to 50%, which is more than what I needed. They were only meant to fight the first wave. But the scorpions are annoying. In a lot of ways. Because they cleanse their debuffs, they're just little shields.
行くわよ。集中なさい。部に帰りなさい。守ります。逃がさない。聖なる輝きよ。視察だよ。それじゃ昇天しろ。 きよ。さあおしまいにしてあげるよ。暗いな。刻め。暗いな。それじゃ昇天しな。派手にしよう。終わり。
慈悲などないぞ。これが定めだ。
滅びの光よ。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。無に帰りなさい。
No.
頼りにしてるわね。暗いな。滅びの光よ。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。刻め。さあおしまいにしてあげるよ。しざしだよ。油断したわね。滅びの光よ。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。無に帰りなさい。これは裁きよ。 私の時間。時には誰もあらない。さあもだえなさい、永劫の痛みを。滅びの光を。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。無に帰りなさい。逃がさない、聖なる輝きよ。それじゃ昇天しなう。派手にいくよ。終わり。しざしたよ。逃がさない、聖なる輝きよ。滅びの光を。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。無に帰りなさい。それじゃ昇天しなう。派手にいくよ。終わり。油断したわね。滅びの光を。これは裁きよ。これは裁きよ。頑張ろう。
Alright, so remember to keep Jack for the next wave.
いい子にしてるの。
目にも止まらぬって受け取りな。いいタイミングだ。
私の番。
空中からだ。守ります。
や
行くぞ。
No, I wanted to HP attack him, but oh. Good job, me.
限界を超える。いいタイミングだ。
私の番。
空中から。 行くぞ。マジでいけね
え。私の番。
いいタイミングだ。 行くぞ。空中から星を降り注げ。いいタイミングだ。
私の番。
空中からだ。
よいしょ。
いいタイミングだ。行くぞ。
私の番。
Yeah. These guys have some of the worst sounds.
頑張るから。いい顔してるの。
限界を超える。
This guy's gonna be launched. I don't necessarily care about launching them, I just care about doing a lot of damage.
星を降り注げ。
Bursting twice on their ass is gonna end up being a lot of damage.
運が悪かった。大切じゃないものなんかな。じっとしていてくれ。
gem. Oh goodness, Eric, you had to put 4 debuffs on him. You ruined my plans, I hate you. Okay, then I'm attacking this guy with this sword here. And we are leaving. We are absolutely leaving. That is more than enough damage on that guy, on those guys. I need trade to start, and it's non-negotiable. Perfect. He listened to me. He listened to me. No more room.
こえる。それ。やるか。
Irrelevant what you do, my man. I know your gimmicks. You want to have less than 4 debuffs on yourself, or else you're gonna cleanse. That's why I'm not using Trace Trap, because that is these guy's gimmick. A Trace Trap would be a 4 to debuff, and when they did that, they would actually cleanse their debuffs, so we would lose Celeste, Imperil, and Enchant, and they actually resist Squall. Their gimmick is that they do have to have 4 debuffs in between them in order to actually keep the orb up. So so you are allowed 6. 3 on each, but not 4. The good thing is the Squall does damage indifferent of whatever bullshit these guys try to pull. They're not pulling anything on me. Let's go, Shiva. About time I killed you guys. Look man, at this point it really does not matter. Actually it might matter because it'll take down my HP, which I don't like. I have to do this. Even if it's level 1, it will break them. Which is exactly what I need. I'm gonna do this, that's gonna kill both of them. There we go. And now they should be gone, both of those things should be gone, so now I can kill them in peace with Squall. Bye! You aren't as impressive as you think you are. I think the most annoying part about this boss rush is the fact that there's so many of them and so tanky. That's basically my only problem, but then again with counters you can probably do less than 4, you can definitely do less than 4 PTs. I just don't want to struggle. Okay, I have so many bursts. Why would I not crush this with all of the bursts that I have? I don't care. I don't want to struggle with this game anymore. It's annoying. The fact that they want to bring out so much content and it's like, clear it within. I mean, they allow you 4 PTs. Why wouldn't I use 4 PTs? Why wouldn't I burst on these guys twice? Like, no reason whatsoever not to, you know? Like, it's obviously the best strategy, but no, like, it's less. I understand for newer players, obviously this would be a hard thing to pull off, but I don't want to struggle with this game. Like, that is my whole reasoning for this. I don't care. I don't want to struggle. So I brought 4-player teams. Probably not the easiest thing to emulate, but hey. Oh goodness, I didn't show this for... Did I? Do they show this? I think they do. Oh yeah, I can show everything. So this one was my first scene. I struggled a little bit here because I didn't know who to put here, but Paladin, because those a-holes, well, Hope could have done just as well, I think. Because the only one that was necessary for the orb was the bronze. On the first wave, you will essentially need somebody to sap them. And Gabrant was the one doing that here, and these were just buffs, and Gladio was there because if they get enraged, and they do attack you and break you, they do kill you. So in essence, Gladio was the safeguard in case I didn't manage to kill them in time and they got a couple of turns, which they did, they got a couple of turns. So that's the reason why I use Gladio, just as a safeguard, because the beetles can one-shot anybody if they break him, except for people with last stand. Obviously, Gladio has last stand, Gladio has impulse, he would have been fine either way, so... yeah, that's the reason why I brought him, and these are just buffs essentially. I would have brought just Paladin Cecil and maybe Hope, and then put Gabrant on Paladin Cecil and somebody else here, but why wouldn't I bring Ramza? I have them, I want to use them. Like, especially Paladin. Like, this is probably the first time he uses, like, it resisted in Aegis, so I wanted to use them. Second team changed a lot. I initially had Lightning here, but Lightning just doesn't have AoE damage, and I struggled to make turns with her. The 50 turns that you're allowed with a team, I couldn't kill, which is why I let this team smack a little bit the second wave as much as I did, because when Lightning was here, it was a struggle. She doesn't have the damage anymore, not for these tanky bosses, not for considering how much HP they have. So yeah, I brought her. Ishtola is quite frankly only here for the orb, because the orb requires healing, and it's either her or Arid I believe, are the only ones who actually have enough healing. From what I remember, maybe I'm mistaken, but they're the ones who have enough burst healing to actually counteract the orb from the guard scorpion. So Ishtola is literally here just for the orb. I didn't even use her LD or no, I did use her LD, but I didn't use the gimmick of her LD, which is the what's it called? The Blood Lily. Yeah. So I didn't use the Blood Lily almost at all. I think I only used it at the end because it was so hard to fit into the rotation, because these two gals take up a lot of time, and if Lightning was here she would have taken up even more time. So Ishtola needed to constantly have her EX up, which means that I can't afford to use the Blood Lily. She constantly has to be using skills. She constantly has to somehow gain turn rate in order to keep up with the fact that these two waste so many turns, and even though the orb is about 20 turns, these two waste a lot of them. So yeah, in between that, I initially had Squall here. Unfortunately, I needed a lot more power for the other, because with Squall she would have been fine. But, because Squall literally does more damage than Ultimecia. Ultimecia is, quite frankly, the only burst I could use that wasn't lightning. And was AoE, I think? No, I still wouldn't have liked having Onion Knight, I don't think so. But Onion Knight would have been useful just because he has the Ice Imperil and those other guys are weak to it, but Celeste can do justice, so no, I still wouldn't have liked having Onion Knight. And I couldn't bring Kuja to anything because nothing is actually weak to Holy and everything resists elemental resistance down, so Kuja would have never been able to imperil anything. Yeah, so Kuja was off the table. So I brought Ultimecia instead. With this team, the whole point of this team, I quite frankly am a little bit annoyed at the fact that we didn't have the Beetles and the TRXs one after the other, because then I could have burst down both ways with just this team. Launch is still overpowered AF, but unfortunately in between all of those guys, so after the Beetles you have the Guard Scorpions. Guard Scorpions cannot be launched. After the Guard Scorpions you have the TMX. TMX can be launched, and after the TMX you have the Snakes, the new Snake bosses. The Snake bosses cannot be launched. You already saw that in the video. So unfortunately I couldn't burst down two waves. It had to be one, and I had to settle for having these guys do as much damage as humanly possible, so that when my next team comes in with Trey, I can come in with the EX and then start breaking them immediately when they did all of their gimmicks, because in order to take down those little triangle-y numbers of theirs, you have to break them continuously, and that's where Trey's EX comes in. And if you have if you have 4 debuffs or more on them, they will cleanse. So I couldn't bring in Trey, risk having too many debuffs on them and them cleansing, because they didn't cleanse at all during this run, because I made sure to not have weight, except for that one time when Aerith decided to put her bloody debuff on the boss. Well, whatever. So when they have 4 or more debuffs, they cleanse, and my initial struggle is because of course you want to bring all of these guys. All of these guys are 1 debuff. The second 1 debuff. This guy has 2 debuffs, so it would be 4 debuffs just with these guys, you know, which is the original setup that I normally use for most of the Lufenia. Well, this Lufenia mostly, at the very least, the snakes counteract all of these supports that essentially place debuffs on top of debuffs on top of Kisses on top of Aerith. That would have been 6 debuffs. Like, see where the problem starts to arise? Because they start cleansing, and because of the way Gabrant, for example, works, Gabrant needs to have 4 debuffs on an enemy in order to break them. So you can't actually bring Gabrant to that stage in order to break them, because Gabrant wouldn't have enough debuffs on them to break them, because they would cleanse as soon as they get into that status. So Gabrant is completely blocked from the last stage. And Trey needs to have his EX on them, so if you bring more debuffs on top of Trey's already, and Trey has 2 debuffs. If you're planning on using his LD, I didn't use his LD at all during this run because the LD would have been an extra debuff, which I couldn't afford. Let's actually talk about this thing now. So yeah, the debuffs were Celeste has 2. I made sure that nobody here had debuffs. Aerith has them, which is why I didn't use her OD call. I only used her regular call just to boost a little bit my Viper inventory before going into the what is it called? Into the burst. But I did not use Trey's OD at all because I can't afford to use it in this match. That would be an extra debuff on top of everything that I already have because she has a bunch. He actually does have what is it? No, she has 3, that's the problem. Yeah, she has 3 because she has the OD one, the taunt, and the ice resistance down, which for some reason works on them even though they're already weak to ice. I don't know. I don't really care. So she inflicts 3 debuffs already, so I could not afford to use Trey's OD. That would have been 1 debuff too many. So yeah, I did not use Trey's OD. Oh no, wait, the 3rd debuff was Trey's EX. Goodness, I forgot. Yeah, because they are immune to resistance down. Okay, so she only has 2 debuffs. Trey has 1 with his EX. With his OD, that would be too much anyway. So I didn't use his OD at all. I only used his EX because I needed to continuously have that thing to break them, and I kept hold of his EX when I got it. Just to make sure that I would have it at the ready if it ever ran out, which with Squall on the team it's not going to because Squall does a lot of damage. The problem with Squall is that you need Celeste because those guys are resistant to physical. Squall is only physical, so Squall will be doing poo-poo damage if Celeste is not standing next to him, and you can't imperil and enchant and bring somebody else aside from Celeste, which is the problem here. So I think for a lot of people, if they don't have Celeste, the last stage is gonna be a problem purely because of how little characters you can actually bring, because they are resistant to Imperil and Enchant. So immune to Imperil and Enchant, I mean. So yeah, unfortunately that is a problem, because otherwise Squall does amazing damage for the last wave, but you need Celeste, and only Celeste, or Onion Knight. But in the case of Onion Knight, you might want to be careful with those debuffs, with the number of debuffs. So yeah, you need either Celeste or Onion Knight next to Squall, otherwise he ain't doing any damage. And well, Trey was there just for the gimmick, because the gimmick is centered around Trey, and it's not possible to be Gabron. It can't be Gabron. Caius works even less because Caius has even more debuffs. So unfortunately, I don't even know how you would do the last stage if you didn't have Trey at the very least EX. Like I haven't checked to see cheeses. I know that Jack has an insta break no matter what, but he only has 4 of those, and you need 3 for each wave, for each of their little gimmicks, and they do it 3 times. So it's not possible to bring just Jack, because Jack would be able to break only 1 of them, because unfortunately he actually doesn't break the other one. His LD doesn't break the other one, so I really don't know how you would be able to do this without Trey at all. Haven't tried it, quite frankly. This game is hard enough as it is. I don't think I'm going to try and find out. So yeah, that was my rant. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.